Hello everyone. We did end up kind of skipping the intro ever so slightly, but that's because looks like we're trying to get right into it at the very beginning of game number 1. As you can tell, stream is a tad rushed, and I don't even think everything's already set up, but it's okay. We'll keep figuring it out as we get going here for game number 1. It's going to be Alcoballic dunks on Team Pickle. As you may have been able to tell from that prediction, which has since been open, and both these teams are looking to find their way into the middle of the pack, kind of. They're both very middle of the pack teams right now. Team Pickle is, I mean, of course, you can't say they're the middle of the pack. They're sitting at a very nice 3rd place. But I think you could definitely say that about the other team that they're facing, the Alcoballic Dunks. They're sitting right now, I believe, at 4th seed. Okay, maybe not a middle pack team whatsoever. This is a pretty high-end match here. Very tight seeds. 3rd seed versus 4th seed, I would mention Team Pickle. Gonna find the first off of dice. But not too much at stake here in this match, at least, which is maybe for the better, as both these teams don't have to be too stressed. As we get here into game number 1, there's going to be a lot of eyes on Alcoballic Dunks. It's been a while since we've had them on stream. Team Pickle, we've seen them recently. So it's going to be interesting to see what Alcoballic Dunks has been up to in the meantime. With a couple of minutes on the clock here for game number 1. Team Pickle finding a very early lead. But I do expect game number 1 to be a bit slower paced compared to the next couple of games that we'll be seeing here in this series. These two teams generally do like to take their time to warm up, and do know that Team Pickle has had some practice time. Did find them playing some games before the course of the match, and same with Alcoballic Dunks as well. I know Brightside was facing some tech issues earlier today, but they have since been resolved, which is always good to see, to say the least. You know, you got Brightside performing at hopefully his full capacity. G-Llama as well, the main aggressor for the Alcoballic Dunks. Leon, we've seen him in the past. He's probably, I mean, he does make a case for the most defensive tier 1 in this league as of right now, and it's only a couple other who can rival him. Leon is finding himself on the offense. G-Llama also rushes in. That's going to leave Brightside in a very precarious situation. He has to make any sort of touch to delay. He also has to avoid the bump. You can see Cameron rushing across, looking for the bump on Brightside, because that would all lock in the goal, but Team Pickle going to find a second anyways, just before halftime in regulation for game number 1. And you better get used to seeing Cameron run across the goal line looking for those demolitions, because it's been a recurring strategy, to say the least. On the side of Team Pickle, it's also Dice, who tends to be very physical oriented. Now is Team Pickle getting to the rhythm. That's a big whiff from Leon from the tier 1 of Alcoballic Dunks. He'd hope that was at least a shot opportunity. This one lingers on the goal line. Does almost pulls off a Zen tier caliber own goal, but luckily pings it over to the corner. Brightside looking to bring the pain. Big clear by Cameron. G-Llama looking to pick up the pieces now. 50 boost in the tank, but it comes up empty for the first touch, right into the lap of Cameron. 2 players up, but Kaivo's gonna lock it down for a 3rd. It's a good thing this one turned into a goal, because you could see here earlier that Cameron also committed. That's going to leave Dies in a 2v1, maybe even a 3v1 situation, so Team Pickle going to be happy to grab that 3rd. 2 minutes on the clock, and Alcoballic Dunks still looking for an answer. Alcoballic Dunks seen a lot out of Leon in the defense, and he's only started to show up on the offense pretty recently. We did see an offensive attempt out of him very early on into game number 1, and now he's managed to air dribble his way into a first. It's a great sight to see if you're a fan of Alcoballic Dunks, but still a lot of ground to be covered here. Brightside's gonna lob one on target. Kaiva chooses to take the instant clear. That's gonna allow for another shot to be developed on the side of Alcoballic Dunks. And nothing coming out of it. Not just yet, at least, but you can see that aggression coming out from G-Llama. Unfortunately, this time around, doesn't seem like it is his day. He's definitely had some opportunities here and there, but of course he hasn't found the connections that he's wanted. But as we get deeper into the series, I would not be surprised if Giolama started to really put up an offensive presence. He's definitely known to do so, especially when he starts looking for some bumps as well. But in the past couple of series that we've witnessed, it's actually not Giolama being the main aggressor, it's actually Brightside, which is a very interesting role for a tier 2 to take. Usually you're going to be playing, well, in the standard team composition, the tier 2 would usually be playing a more midfield presence, but Brightside has been quite aggressive. And to see that he can adapt like that is a great sign. Oh, Leon's going to send this one off target. He sends it to the backboard one more time, dies. Going to be able to deny it. In fact, there's two players on the backboard for Pickle. This was an open net, but Kaivo has beamed it ever so slightly. Can't get the follow-up as well as Cameron flips past the ball. It's chaos on the offensive end of Team Pickle, but I'm not sure. Actually, I doubt they mind too much, having held on to this 2-goal lead. You're gonna strongly and confidently take game number 1 in their favor.
Going to need a tune-up after that.
You heard the announcer, going to need a tune-up after that. Alcoballic Dunks, they're the one needing the tune-up here. Spent most of game number 1 without an answer, and eventually they did finally start to connect the dots a little bit later. It took many attempts and a couple missed opportunities as well. But Alcoballic Dunks did eventually find their stride. They've got to keep it up here as we get into game number 2. Game number 2. It's Team Pickle holding on to this 1-game lead here in this series, but it's been a bit of a scrappy game from both sides of the pitch. Bit of missed opportunities here and there for both orange and blue alike as Dice looking to kill the ball. Ooh, that's a big lead from Brightside. It's straight to the backboard. Brightside to the backboard one more time as Kaivo looking for the squishy. Luckily, he's got some teammates in the midfield to work with as well, or else Alcoballic Dunks would have been able to bring a lot more pressure to the table. A little bit of a double commit here as Alcoballic Dunks struggling to figure out who should take control of this ball. After a bit of confusion in the midfield, they do finally manage to bring it around to the orange side of the pitch, but you gotta compare the rotations of Pickle and Alcoballic Dunks here. You can see that Team Pickle definitely playing a less scrappy game, and this kind of makes sense. We've heard a couple of people describe the Alcoballic Dunks as chaotic, and you can definitely see that relation here. More so in this game compared to past series. It can honestly be kind of difficult to read Alcoballic Dunks at times, and honestly that's part of what makes them so powerful. And could also be one of the reasons that they have found themselves in the top 4 right now. But this game might be a must-win, as if either team drops a series, they are at risk of dropping out of that top 4. So far, as long as they remain inside the top 6, where they won't have to play into the play-ins, then it shouldn't be a big deal for either of these two teams. But given how tense that top 4 competition is, both teams are looking to make every game and every series really matter. It's Cameron. Bounces this one close to Leon. Leon looking to take full control. He's got the dribble to his name, an early flick, but Ivo is able to deny it from the corner. That's a long shot that's found its way into the back of the net. No one saw that one coming. On the side of Alcoballic Dunks is Kaivo from the sidewall just past the midfield line, slams in a first. This is quite interesting because the ball possession numbers actually go in favor of Alcoballic Dunks, with them having about 60% of possession. And that's mostly because Leon likes to keep the ball close to him whenever possible. This time, he's going to opt for the pass, and Giolama, I mean, that is a magnificent play from the Alcoballic Dunks, the synergy. I was questioning it a little bit, but they've proven me wrong as we get deeper into game number 2. Giolama as well finally hits his mark. Like you saw in game number 1, he was struggling to connect on some of those opportunities. But now that it matters, he's found his time to shine. Looking to equalize in the series, G Llama sends this one wide. Grade 50 by Alcoballic dunks out. It's going to allow Leon to take control, but no, he misses the follow-up touch that he needed to really take control of that play. A pivotal moment here for the Alcoballic dunks, because if they're not able to connect on some of the crucial touches, then it's only a matter of time before Team Pickle come bearing down. Leon. He takes these guys one more time. That's actually how he scored his first goal here in game number 2, is through the air dribble. Alcoballic dunks looking to rely on some of this aerial mechanics. Sorry, this was his first goal in game number 1 is what I meant to say, was through that air dribble. The first goal here for Alcoballic dunks was the passing play we just witnessed. This one lingers on the goal line. G Llama could have potentially been close enough to make a play, but it would have left him incredibly out of position had that play not worked out in his favor. Going to have to choose to retreat now as Leon. This is a crazy pre-jump by Dies. He was up yesterday and a half to challenge that ball. Not going to work out for Team Pickle this time around, but the aggression from Dies is definitely one to be reckoned with, and you got to start looking out for that if you're the dunks. It's a bit scrappy on the goal line to say the least, and honestly I could start to dissect what happened here, but it's just chaos on the side of Team Pickle. Eventually Leon and G Llama combining to find a first here. G Llama going to be credited with that goal, but in reality that was all Alcoballic dunks. I don't wonder how that one turned into a goal, but Team Pickle gonna have to find this one goal comeback here. Brightside uses all of his boost to get this one onto the orange side of the pitch, but it is short-lived as once again Alcoballic dunks find themselves on defense. There's a shot on target from Diaz. Pyro looking to hammer the net as well. It's only G Llama back. He opts to take the pass, but unfortunately Leon was already rotating back. Back pass coming in for Team Pickle, but it's a bit awkward for them to deal with, as they once again have to forsake possession. Alcoballic dunks looking to hold on to the ball for the last 20 seconds or so. A big clear, but this ball has to be sped up if you're Team Pickle. Gotta find a way to break out of your own half right about now if you want any chance at sending this one into an overtime. This is a good opportunity though, as Pyro sends this one over Cameron. Cameron's looking for the big dunk. Pyro to keep it alive. He's got Dies as well, and Cameron sitting on the corner. Dies now chooses to commit to this ball. Kaivo, he's gonna have to stretch to keep this one up, but it's just out of his reach in game number 2 in favor of the dunks. The chat is blowing up right now, and I can't tell what you're talking about. Maybe if you can help me decipher it. Alright, this is a Cameron moment. This is a Cameron moment. But definitely taking a sweet time here, as Alcoballic dunks either spending too much time bantering in the match chat, or maybe legitimately talking about a strategy as we get into game number 3. As both teams, like we talked about, they have equalized. It's pretty dominant showing from Team Pickle in game number 1, but since then the dunks. They had a crazy passing play at the very beginning of game number 1, which really set them up for success. They're going to be looking for some more of that here as we get into game number 3 and beyond. Brightside starting this game off with a bang, quite literally, as he looks to send this to the far side of the pitch. He does get denied though. Eventually, Alcoballic dunks work together to bring it into the orange half. Leon thought he was going to be threatened by the challenge. He does walk away with a possession though. But Alcoballic dunks swings again, having to regroup. Oh, that's a mistouch from Brightside. Kai was going to walk out with a free possession. Brightside was also anticipating the challenge there, but the challenge never came, and it had inadvertently turned into a pass. Luckily, Alcoballic dunks managing to stay alive here. Early into game number 3, both teams playing a notably slower game, a lot more physical plays coming out this game compared to previous games in the series, which is what you'd expect to see with Dice and G-Llama on the pitch. They just didn't show up in game number 1s and 2, but now that it has, both teams have something to reckon with. This one is wide open in Brightside. That fruit is ripe for the picking as Brightside finding a first. And we've seen Leon definitely begin to heat up on the offensive end of the pitch. He's got mechanical prowess that oftentimes goes unnoticed because he spends so much of his time on the defense making sure that his net is locked down that we sometimes never quite to see what mechanics Leon has under his sleeve. That time the mechanics are, well, not exactly on display there as Leon sends that one wide. But still, Alcoballic dunks. One goal lead. Team Pickle weren't able to make the comeback from that one goal lead last time. Oh, that's a big clear from Leon though. He now walks out with possession, 50 boost in the tank, but the first touch is a bit too high away from himself. He nearly turns it into a goal but dies. That's a miracle save on the goal line. It's off the crossbar. That ball was at least 25-30% inside the net maybe, but Team Pickle managing to keep themselves alive. Maybe at a sec or first here. Luckily, it's gonna be Leon who's able to bail Brightside out. Leon looking for the follow-up. Got the flip there as well, just goes to show you a taste of the mechanics that Leon is capable of pulling off at a whim. And it makes you think what Leon could accomplish if he had free reign with the ball, some resources to play with. That's something that Team Pickle would really have to be scared of. Oh, there's a shot and a half from Leon though, and I believe been absolutely teed up by G-Llama, who rotates back from the corner boost, having stolen, and Leon that slams that one into the back of the net. A demon shot coming out from the Alcoballic dunks, and the passing plays have really been on fire for them. I believe we saw a passing play earlier from Leon and G-Llama as they combined for their first back in game number 2. And now, they've once again managed to combine, except this time, G-Llama finding himself on the assisting end. A big demolition by Dies, but it doesn't amount to too much, as Leon takes this guy's another time, threatening the ceiling double, but it waterfalls down. G-Llama the follow up, again it's super awkward as he flopped around inside of the net. And the follow up from G-Llama didn't have the most power, but it did the job of making Team Pickle awkward, making them use those extra resources. And you could tell Team Pickle floundering on the defense right now as Alcoballic dunks really beginning to heat up here in game number 3. We knew that it might have taken them game number 1 to warm up, and now that they've taken game number 1, Team Pickle is finding Alcoballic dunks very difficult to read, and like we talked about before, that seems to be a common strategy for the dunks. A minute and a half here for Team Pickle to start making this comeback. They've been struggling to connect. You can see the passing plays attempted at least. Dies as well has been looking for some of those demolitions, but they haven't connected the dots quite yet here. With time taken down in game number 3, Alcoballic dunks has drastically slowed down the pace of play. They're more than content in keeping it in their own corner as long as it takes. That's a clear from Brightside as both teams kind of ping-ponging a little bit. Dies taking control, but Leon is already up, finds himself a monumental challenge. He's gonna be able to walk out with maybe a shot opportunity here as well as he sends it towards the backboard. Brightside lunges in deep. He's actually gotten a little bit stuck inside the goal line. It's gonna be a long and slow rotate back for him. Luckily, his two teammates are more than equipped to handle the play at hand. With only a few seconds left in game number 3, I think it's safe to say that Alcoballic dunks have found themselves on a match point, and Team Pickle, having looked so confident in game number 1, definitely are struggling to find the solution here in games 2 and beyond. Leon Not the Leon we're used to seeing by any means. He's been putting up some ridiculous passing plays. He's been putting in some bangers. Yes, he's missed the mark a handful of times, but it does not compare to the amount of offensive pressure he's able to maintain, the amount of possession he's able to maintain as well. As of right now, Team Pickle are struggling to find any sort of response to deal with it. And we once again have a bit of time here in between games for Team Pickle to hopefully formulate any sort of strategy to make this comeback as they stare down the barrel of Alcoballic Dunk's match point. And for the type of team Alcoballic Dunks is, you know they're going to be motivated. They've got that mental edge. And with players such as Jilama Brightside as well, can definitely be motivated. Oh, the lobby crashed? Question mark? That's odd. Interesting moment. I don't know why the lobbies crashed like that all of a sudden. Didn't disconnect any of us, which is thankfully good, so we don't have to remake the lobby, but oh my goodness, this is off to a disaster. It's off the kickoff. Cameron was looking to center, it turns into an own goal, but Team Pickle certainly don't mind having a first to their name. They've been struggling. Oh, yeah, they've been struggling to find their early goal lead. But now in game number 1 they found it, really when it counts to send this one into a game 5. But Alcoballic Dunks, one goal has not put too much or taken too much struggle for them over the course of games 2 and 3. But the amount of offense that Alcoballic Dunks is able to maintain with the amount of possession they are able to keep a hold of. Gotta wonder if Alcoballic Dunks are gonna make this one goal comeback. Ivo is taking his time in the midfield. He may have a flip to work with. G-Llama finds himself a 1v1 though, as he cuts rotation to make the follow-up. It's a light touch towards Kaivo. Leon taking the follow-up. Oh, two players have died for Alcoballic Dunks. It's just Brightside left back, and he finds himself in a very difficult situation. Felt compelled to go up for that 50 on his own backboard, and it does not turn out quite as well as he was hoping, as Cameron absolutely annihilating Senior Brightside on the goal line. The second for Team Pickle is already beginning to run away with game number 4. Now it's really starting to look like a lost cause for Alcoballic Dunks. There's still a lot of time though. If Alcoballic Dunks are able to keep that mental game going, then they may have a shot at a comeback, but this is not the same Team Pickle that we saw in games 2 and 3. Now realizing that their series life is on the line, they definitely begun to pick it up here, and 3 very quick goals in the span of the first minute. Alcoballic Dunks still looking for an answer. Now granted, the first goal was an own goal, so if you're Alcoballic Dunks, you can kind of shake that off and say, you know, it's not the biggest deal. And Leon, who does exactly that, finding himself a first. Leon, he's been the main offensive progression for the Dunks today. I mean, like I mentioned before, we're used to seeing Brightside actually take the lead on making some of those offensive attempts. But it's good to see a change of scenery if you're Alcoballic Dunks and they're making this. Oh my goodness, what a play. Oh, that is just class from the Alcoballic Dunks. The Leon flick over one in Brightside. He's rotating across the goal line in an attempt to maybe look for a bump or make sure that net was open for the flick. But he ends up being in the perfect position to dish that one in for a second, and now Alcoballic Dunks find themselves within striking distance. A bit of communication in the midfield is G-Llama absolutely sniping that boost. It's a good pass over to Brightside. Oh, it's from Brightside over to Leon, I should say, but Leon just centimeters away from hitting the mark. Now it's a back pass from G-Llama over to Brightside again. As Brightside running amok, looking for a strong challenge. He's going to find it, ends up right into the lap of Leon. That's a big beat by Kaivo. Luckily, Brightside always back and ready to make sure his net is well defended. Team Pickle. Gotta wonder if those nerves are starting to get to them here. Seeing Alcoballic score 2 in very quick succession can be kind of daunting, even knowing you have that 1-goal lead. Team Pickle now has to contend with the fact that they don't have an insurance goal anymore. Leon. Not gonna get this one farther than Kaivo. Luckily, Kaivo had pretty much no boost to work with here. Still doesn't actually. Luckily, he's gonna pick one up now as Team Pickle looking full with lots of resources here to begin this offensive approach. On the meantime, Alcoballic Dunks is running out a little bit. Giolama and Leon have got some resources to play with, but not too much, not compared to the vast quantities of boost Team Pickle have stored in their tanks. Luckily, this offensive attempt begins to fizzle as Alcoballic Dunks now take their time to progress on the offense, and as nabbing that 100 boost in the corner, it's gonna be Leon who passes one infield, absolutely dishes it over to Brightside, and another slam dunk passing play from the Alcoballics. And if you're Alcoballic Dunks, your mental has to be skyrocketing right now, as taking 3 goals, which are not just any ordinary goals. Taking the 3-goal comeback is no small feat by itself, but each of his goals has displayed such offensive prowess. Giolama's gonna sweep in a 4th, and Team Pickle really gonna have to figure out what to do here after dropping the 3-goal lead. Gonna be difficult to keep their head held high, but that is what they must do in order to progress this series to game number 5. But it starts with 1 goal at a time here as Team Pickle. Still a lot of time here to make this 1-goal comeback. That's a strong 50 from Cameron as it heads right into the nose of Dies. I think Cameron pre-jump Dies touch as well. Kaivo, that's slightly off target. And Alcoballic Dunks is going to be able to regroup. Leon. Over to bad side, Leon cutting rotation to get it over 1, but Dies in possession in the midfield to stop that offensive attack before it begins. Right side now. Does this one water falling down? Oh, Cameron, he's in a spot in the half as he's switched to the Merc. I don't know when that happened, but maybe in an attempt to make his car a little bit thicker. That seems to be the strategy here as 30 seconds, Team Pickle now in dire straits. Dies, he's gonna try to take this one slow, but Leon, he's all over it, always has been. And with that offensive attempt having fizzled out, Team Pickle, you can see them beginning to sweat here as Alcoballic Dunks keep the pressure piling on. Dies, he's looking for some sort of any heroic effort. We saw him with a dribble attempt earlier, but no, Team Pickle are not finding anything. Time ticking down, and Alcoballic Dunks looking like they may have completed the gentleman's sweep. Team Pickle have found the first earlier in the series. They took game number 1, in fact, but since then it has been all Alcoballic Dunks. They find themselves with the wins. Very quick leads from Team Pickle here as Alcoballic Dunks looking to establish some dominance. Let's go have a word with them.
I'm saving it.
Alright. God damn, that was fucking.
Joining me is Alcoballic Dunks, that's Giolama, Leon, Senior, Brightside. How's it going, guys?
What is up?
Pretty stoked.
Pretty stoked indeed. In fact, you guys now find yourself 6-2, and you know what that means. There's only one other team right now who's 6-2. You want to guess who it is?
Calm and collected, those motherfuckers.
Oh yeah, that would be Common Collected. You guys both find yourself 6-2, tied for the 2nd seed. Who do you think makes it out on top?
I mean, they beat us, so they have the advantage. But I mean,
but we're not even worried about them. We're gunning for number 1. Hot Shots team, Luma's fan club.
Yeah, I thought it was. Unfortunately, I mean, I was down in San Diego, so I was in a random fucking geeky lounge. Freaking computers were awful, so I didn't play as good as I could have probably against them. So I'm hoping next time we play them, I'll be at home.
Alright, that's good to hear. Wait, are you actually Geeky Lunch?
Well, it was yesterday, but
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, well, no, for the game against not Geeky Lounge, it was the other one, the really bad one. Wasey, the
Oh,
one that you didn't
yeah,
like.
the one we were gonna do land at and then we canceled.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So I wasn't as good as I wanted to play. So hopefully next time we play them, I'll be you know, I'll be on a good computer.
For sure, for sure.
Ready.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see you guys on tip-top shape. Leon, saw a side of you that I wish I could see some more of. We're used to seeing Leon pretty much on the defense non-stop, but man, we saw some crazy aggression out of you guys at passing plays as well. Leon de Giolama, I feel like I said those two names so many times this series. Now, for those passing plays, would you call them an intended strategy to take on this series, or are you happy to take them in stride?
Well, my plan was I heard Dies is a pretty defensive player, so I heard if I just like be random with the ball and pass it and just do random things, like they would be able to not read me, and it worked out pretty well.
And what about
Fair
Leon?
enough, fair enough.
Well, the passing plays, it just happened. I don't know. I didn't plan it beforehand. It just happened in the moment.
And now that you realize that those passing plays are really beginning to connect, is that a strategy you think you might start to focus on more in this future, or are you happy to let them happen as they come?
Probably the second option. Happen as they come.
Fair
Well,
enough.
This is a really good team, so we're probably gonna see them in the playoffs. Definitely. They we just got lucky today, but yeah, this is gonna be a really good team.
Yeah, I mean, as definitely they are still kind of in that top four along with you guys. And speaking of the top four, if you were to pick, there's three very hard decided teams right now. You've got Alcoballic, Dunks, Common Collected, Loomis Fan Club having pretty much definitively made that top four. If you were to join one more team to join your ranks, who would it be?
Like as top four.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
The cheese.
Cheesy
I-
apple
Cheesy
balls.
apple balls? Yeah, we want cheesy apple balls are crabby days. We want another of the bottom ranked teams that, we weren't even supposed to make playoffs, according to the experts. So
yeah, according to Extra, you guys punched us 9.
yeah.
Underrated.
We're eating those words right now. We are eating those words.
So another of the low ranked team, just so there could be 2 low ranked teams up top. Just so
Never
we could-
underestimate
Fair
the
enough,
G
fair enough.
Llama.
Yeah, definitely don't underestimate the G Llama.
Alright, it was great talking to you guys. Hoping to see you guys more on the pitch. And that was Alcoballic Dungs taking this series in 4. GG's, you guys. Have a good night.
GG. Good night.
Alright, sweet. That's gonna wrap it up for our unfortunately one series today. There is another one happening at 9 o'clock that I'm unfortunately not gonna be able to stream, but note that that may be happening. If you are interested, we can try and scrap something together. Anyways, let me know. I believe for this stream, that's going to be it for me, though. I hope you guys enjoyed just as much as I did. Alcoballic Dunks now having cemented their spot into the top 4, tied with Common Collected, Lumens Fan Club. Still undefeated. My goodness, someone has to knock this team down because Lumens Fan Club are on a killer streak right now. It's going to be it for me, though. I'll see you guys at 9 o'clock, maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure, but we'll see you soon. Have a good night, guys.